Anxious to get painting today. I'm excited. Just getting a little bit of prep finished up here for what we are about to do. Pretty excited about this little project. Okay. Shouldn't take long. Full size skull. Practical. Yeah, I don't know if it's life size, but it's. I think it might be a little bigger than life size. Full size skull. All right, we got audio good here. Oh, hey, what's up, Aaron? Sorry, I just got my monitor up here, aka my iPad here in the studio. Yeah, we're doing a skull today for Mr. Frankie Hill, the illustrious and legendary Frankie Hill from Palo Peralta Skateboards, now Hill Skateboards. I don't know who all the guy skates for, man. The dude's a legend. Not to talk you up too much, Frankie, because I know you'll be watching this later, but Frankie's awesome. When I was a kid growing up in my late teens, Frankie, the rest of the crew over at Palo Peralta, these guys were just really knocking out awesome videos and great skateboards and stuff. I'll never forget watching Frankie ollie the gap. I think the video was from Propaganda, San Marcos High School. I'm not remembering the name of the high school right off the bat. Shame on me. But there's a huge gap that Frankie ollies, and I remember a few weeks after that video came out, we found out where the spot was, and three of us rolled up there to see if we could ollie the gap, and not one of us even tried it. It was extremely imposing to look at in person. It didn't look that big in the video. You know it was, but you thought, well, I could do that. You know, I mean, a few of us were really, really good at ollieing. You know, we could bust some fat air, and yeah, never tried it. Never went back to try it. I don't know if any of my buddies did. I don't think we did. Just let that one go into legend, and you can still see the video today. Frankie's got it posted on his Facebook page. It's pretty epic shit. I highly recommend going to check it out. Which also brings me to Frankie. Frankie is agreeing to let me share his Facebook Messenger. I'll leave that link in the description on this video once it's published. And you can go and get yourself a signed Frankie Hill deck, I think for about 120 shipped in the United States. Don't quote me on that. And that's for the board. And it's signed. I can't recall if Frankie actually grips them or not. That might be something you need to do yourself. If not, cool. But you can hit up Frankie. I'll leave the link in the descriptions. Hit him up on his Facebook Messenger, and he will do a signed Frankie Hill deck like the one you see in the thumbnail for this video. He's got a bunch of different ones. You can hit him up. He's got pictures. It's not just the one board. There's all kinds of cool decks that he's got available. So definitely check those out. Again, I'll leave the link for Frankie's Messenger in the description, and you can go and get yourself a skateboard or buy one as a Christmas gift. Whatever you might need a board for. So that being said, Frankie's logo on most of his skateboards is a bulldog. And I had an idea like, hey, it'd be kind of fun to like 3D print something for you, skateboarding wise. I hit him up, and talked about a couple of different ideas. I showed him some different STL files that were available for bulldogs. And then I found this skull, which is apparently a 3D scan of an actual skull. I found this on CG Trader, I believe. It was either CG Trader or Cults. I'll find out, and I'll leave the link for the STL for anybody who wants to print this bulldog skull. It's phenomenal, and you'll be able to go ahead and print one of your own. You can scale it down or scale it way up, whatever you want to do. In this case, I scaled it way up. The original file probably would have only been about yay big at the scale it comes in. So you'll probably want to scale it up a little bit if you decide to do this one. I'm basically just going over it right now and finding any leftover little supports and stuff that I can track down, because we don't want those on the model. So I'm just basically clipping those off with the Dremel. And then there's a couple little supports back here in the skull that I need to pull out, because we will be sanding this up and painting it. Shouldn't take too long to get to that point. In case you've missed videos before where I showed you how to prep, we're going to be doing some prep today, so you get to see how I do that. And some light sanding with the Dremel to get some of these, if not all of these support bumps out. And then a request that Frankie had as well is he would like this to be a wall-mounted piece for his art wall at home. So I think where I'm going to go in is right about here, possibly up here. This is a good area to drill a hole, and I'm thinking about a 1 inch, maybe 3/4 inch diameter hole about right here, and that's where the mounting rod's going to go into. It'll have a small mounting rod coming out, and supported by like some kind of like plaque looking thing. Not there yet, but right now we just want to get to painting and prepping and painting. So that's what we're doing. And some of you guys know how this goes down. Some of you don't. If this is your first time watching how to prep any kind of 3D print, this is basically what you start with. We've got some drainage holes here that we need to fill in, and I'm going to be using some UV putty for that, and then we'll be sanding these over to kind of to make them flush with the bone, and then quick coat of airbrush primer, and then we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of the painting, which shouldn't take too long. I think we're gonna keep it pretty simple. You don't really have to do much to achieve the look of real bone. It's pretty simple, unless you're going for like a fossilized bone. Fossil bone can be quite tricky. It's a lot of fun to do though. And if any of you guys want to request that I do a fossil, there's some 3D prints out there of like different dinosaurs that I can print, and we could do a fossil. We could do a fossilized rendition of a skull or something. That'd be kind of fun to do. So this is a UV putty by Colad. I absolutely love this stuff. I'll leave the link in the description if you want to check this stuff out. You've heard people talk about mixing, like some of you have maybe heard people talk about mixing like baby powder with UV resin, and mixing it into like resin from your printer, your SLA printers. If you mix it enough, you get it gets to a viscosity that's workable, and this is essentially what it feels like this stuff might be. It's basically a UV resin that if you were to mix baby powder with UV resin at home, this is about the consistency you'd be looking for to close up some gaps and drain holes and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to be using for this. And pick a hole, any hole. We'll just start right here. You can use a brush to feather it, you know, whatever works. And I'm not looking for pure perfection in covering it up, because the bone has texture and stuff, so it can be a little rough. It doesn't have to be totally perfectly smooth in this case. This stuff does smell. It gives off some fumes, especially when you're developing it or curing it with your UV light. So you do want to use this stuff in a well ventilated area. I myself am in my garage, which is where my studio is, and all I have to do is crack the door a little bit, which it is, and I've got plenty of airflow. Let's see, I need an old shitty brush here because I want to clean up these teeth. But yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you, Aaron, for joining the live stream today. Happy to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this little skull journey for Mr. Hill. The stuff does sand really well and easy. So if you get a little too much out or something when you're sealing your holes, it will sand up with the Dremel tool. And I'll show you the bits I'm going to use for that. These holes here are actually part of the skull, so we're not covering those up. I like this stuff too because it's really good at covering up fairly decent sized drainage holes or gaps. Relatively easy. If any of you guys have ever used this stuff, this Colad quick curing UV system stuff, leave a comment in the comment section and let me know what you think about it. I'm not sponsored by these guys at all. I bought it with my own money, and I'm if they want to sponsor me, that's cool. So Colad, if you're listening, send me some stuff and I'll do an actual review for you or something. Shameless plug there for you guys. Also, I don't own any of the rights to the music you're hearing in the background. So if you like what you hear, check out the copyright section in the live stream once this video is published, and go support the music. Buy a record. You'll hear some good stuff today. I don't care if I get a little bit smeared out there. You just feather it out. We're going to be sanding over a whole area anyways. I think we've only got 2 more left up here. 3 more. Seal these up really quick and easy. This is just an old paintbrush I'm using to kind of feather it out a little bit. Just, you can use a brush you just don't care about anymore. I always keep my old brushes. At least the ones that are like in this condition, I'll keep them for a little while and use them up for stuff like this. And then we just got one left in the back there. All right. And with that, we are ready to cure this. I'm going to crack my garage door a little bit more. And to cure this stuff, all you need is, your standard dark beam or whatever, UV light. And you're just going to want to hold it over that spot for a couple seconds. It doesn't take long to cure this stuff at all. It goes really quick. And you notice I'm wearing gloves. You don't want to mess around with this stuff with your bare hands. Just not wise. How's your day going, Aaron? What you up to, man? Doing well, I hope. Hope you and everybody had an awesome Thanksgiving. Give this another good go over before I start sanding this down a little bit. That should be good. Should be good and cured. All right. Now it's Dremel time. So the bits we're going to use for these are it's a soft bit. This one is already pretty well used, so we're going to put a freshie on. You get a box of these things on Amazon for about, I think it was $9 for like a box of freaking 50 of them or something. They're really, really cheap. And they're fantastic for prepping 3D prints, getting the little supports off, all that stuff. They work great. And let's see here. As always, you want to wear proper PPE when sanding resin stuff. Don't be stupid. Use it. Use it or lose it. No, I better leave this stuff out. Be just my luck I need it again. All right, so I'm going to mask up here, and then we're going to get to sanding. So I'm going to need my other camera rig so you guys can see what I'm doing. I got one that straps on my head too, but I don't really care for it yet. It's this thing, it works, but I got this one that I can put around my neck. That's pretty easy. Excuse me. All right. All right, here we go. We got a new bit on. We're gonna go ahead and start sanding. I just use a little foot pedal down here. Also being careful not to drop the model because they are brittle. I think we're just about there. It's just alcohol. All right. I think we're looking pretty good. Get my mask off here. All right, clean off my glasses. All right, so any questions about sanding prep there and what's going on with that? Feel free to leave the question in the description if you're watching this later, and I will definitely get to you. I do respond to everyone, even if it's negative. I know, crazy, huh? All right, let's get some air in this place. More air. Just turning on my big fan here. You really want to avoid that really fine dust. All right. Now let's just give it a nice little once over here. I was just looking over the skull. There's some really cool textures in the bone that I think are going to be really fun to bring out of this this paint job. Some stuff I didn't see at first. All right. So we're going to get out some primer and our airbrush. Going to be airbrushing the primer today instead of doing spray paint. Turn on the air compressor here. Turning it down to 18 psi. And I'm going to be using a 0.4 millimeter needle and nozzle for this part. Just takes a few minutes for my tank to fill up. So we'll start painting after that. My favorite paint mixer. Love this thing. I'll leave a link for the description down in the... Or I'll leave a link in the description. There we go. If you want to get your hands on one of these bad boys. They're not cheap. They're still in the low end bracket though for paint mixers. That one is about $80, $90 on Amazon. All right. Nope. Thanks again, everyone, for dropping in and hanging out. Whoever's watching right now, I appreciate you. Appreciate you stopping in. So I'm just going to do a quick little test spray, make sure my airbrush is performing the way it's supposed to. Oh, hey, buddy. Didn't even know you left. So we finished sanding, I hope. Oh, right on. Hope you guys enjoyed your walk. So I finished sanding with our bit here. I'm not sure about this cavity in the nose, but there's going to be shadows in there and stuff like that. So I'm leaving it for the time being. Actually, maybe I'm not. Where's my tool at? I don't know where all my bits are. I got a little bit in there I want to clean up. It's just bugging me, and I need to do it or I won't be happy. Yeah, I think we're good there. Okay, now I feel better. Now I feel like we can move forward. All right. Let's get our airbrush loaded up and start getting some paint on this bad boy. For anybody watching this later, if you'd like to get a signed deck by Frankie Hill, there will be a link in the description that you guys can go to pick up your own signed Frankie Hill. He's got several models available, I believe. But you have to check those out. Send him a message on his Facebook there, and he will get you going in the right direction. Now, the reason why I'm using black primer is because I'm going to be laying paint down on this, and the black provides not only does it help your paint stick to the model, but it also provides kind of like a pre-made shadow, if you will, that's going to sit in those cracks and crevices of the model. I typically use black on anytime I primer something for that specific purpose. We are moving paint. Little camera angle change. Don't want this getting boring for you guys. Music. Okay. Finish up this top coat here. Your wish is my command. I just had to get through that one song and get it out of my system. You know how it goes. Thanks for letting me know, though. I forget how good this little microphone is sometimes. So while this layer is drying, I'm going to go ahead and clean out my airbrush. I might not be using it for a minute, so I want to make sure I'm not letting any paint dry inside the cup or in the needle area. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean it out. Is that better, homie? I'm actually going to be switching up the music here pretty quick, too. And of course, once I started putting some primer down, I did find a few spots that need a little bit more sanding. So we're going to knock that out real quick. I want to get that done before I move on to the underside. I need something to hang on to while I'm painting the outside. And the spots I'm talking about is back here. There's some support bumps. I'm not worried so much about these back spots because this is going to be facing a wall. You know, like it's going to be hidden from the wall mount. But there's a little bit up here I want to get. And then some of the eye sockets. So we're going to blow dry this real quick. All right, I think we're looking good there. It's real easy to miss those little spots sometimes. All right. Go ahead and load our airbrush up and we can go back over that. Just about done with the primer coat here, and then we can move on to start getting some color down, which will be cool. I'm looking forward to that. Oh, yeah. There's one more little spot I didn't like. Right here on the jaw. All right. Let's see here. Where was I? Go back. Just letting this dry on this side for a minute so I can see what it's doing. I want to make sure it's covered up the way I like it to be. So far, so good, I think. Yeah, I think we're good. So, yeah, just about wrapping up the primer here for this bulldog skull. So I was talking to Frankie, and just on a whim, I hit him up asking him, so because for years I've been seeing the bulldog skull on his decks and his merch, t-shirts and stuff like that. Frankie Hill, synonymous with the bulldog. And so I hit him up like, so if you don't mind me asking, what's the story behind the bulldog on your logo and your decks and stuff? And he told me a cool story I thought was really bitchin'. Like, how cool would this have been to experience? You're a young kid. I think he was 18 or 19. You're young. You're skating your heart out there. And hang on one second. Got to clean off my glasses a little bit here. You're a young kid. You're 17, 18, 19, however old Frankie was. The story's about him. And he was in Amsterdam, and I forget why he said he was in Amsterdam. Maybe they were on tour or something, I'm guessing. He was skating for Powell Peralta at the time. And everybody knows who Powell Peralta is. Rodney Mullen, Tony Hawk, Frankie Hill, Steve Cavallero, Mike McGill. The list goes on and on. All the Powell greats. Tommy Guerrero, can't forget Tommy. Anyhow, he was in Amsterdam, and Powell said, "Hey, you're gonna go pro soon," which must have been super thrilling news to hear as a young dude. But they said, "Hey, we're gonna turn you pro. Start thinking about, what kind of logo or design you want on your first skateboard." Like, how cool would that be? Being a young lad and being given that news. That, hey, dude, we're turning you pro. You're good enough. You're cool enough. We want you on our team. Start thinking about a logo that you want for your board, your very own signature professional skateboard. I had a couple shop sponsors and stuff growing up, and nothing crazy. And I knew pretty early on that I wasn't going to go pro ever, and it, to this day, it's still, to me, it's not about that, but for skateboarders, for a lot of us out there, that's a dream, it's a big dream, to go pro for any sport, much less skateboarding. And if modern day skateboarding, man, I mean, even back in the 90s, 80s, when it was getting crazy, it's no easy feat to turn pro in skateboarding. Like, you got to be awesome. And I had some opportunities back in the day to skate with Frankie or in the vicinity of Frankie, and a whole bunch of other pros that I really admired growing up, some of which I've become friends with over the years. I won't mention any names just out of privacy, but I always just thought that would have been such a cool feeling to get to go pro. And now I'm old. Frankie's, it's crazy. Frankie's a couple years older than me. I'll be 52 this month, and Frankie's still out there killing it. He's still out there skating here locally, and wherever he goes, he's got his deck and he's out there killing it. He's still busting at our ripe age, which I think is friggin' awesome. I'm jealous. I'm jealous, Frankie. I would love to be able to keep skating. I have no ACL or MCL in my left knee um, from a work accident years back, and never got it repaired. So my skateboarding days are pretty much toast. They're done, um, and I'm okay with that. I've been asked if I could ever go back. Would I do it all over again? Knowing the kind of pain and stuff I deal with and live with every day now. And my answer is always yes. I absolutely would go back and do it again. The only difference is I would probably go harder, a lot harder than I did. And I did some really crazy, stupid shit when I was young, growing up skating. No regrets, though. None at all. My shoulders and neck are screwed. My knees are shot. My ankles are shot. But I'd do it all over again, 100%. I'd do it harder. I think that's my only regret is I didn't go hard enough, when I was younger. But skateboarding was my shit. That was the one sport that I got involved with, the one community that I got involved with. I was really good at it. I really enjoyed it. As much as you're supposed to enjoy stuff like that. And I miss it every day, 100%. I'd love to be able to keep skating. I told Frankie the other day, I think I commented on one of his posts, that I'm skating vicariously through him and others out there, my friends that are still able to do it, And I play Skate on Xbox. The new Skate that came out is pretty awesome, super fun to play. You guys saw the Screaming Hand I did last week, or just before Thanksgiving. I didn't realize it until I went back and I was just fiddling around before bed. I like to play Skate. And noticed that that logo, by Jim Phillips, the Screaming Hand, is all over that game. Santa Cruz Skateboards. Santa Cruz they're pretty commercial nowadays, anyways. I remember I was talking to my friend Eric not too long ago about how, like, you can go to a regular store now and buy skate merchandise, shirts and stuff like that. But back in the day, the only place you could go and get a Screaming Hand t-shirt or different skate shirts, your skateboard shirts, like, if you wanted a Frankie Hill shirt or a hoodie or Tony Hawk or Nodus, any kind of merch, you had to go to a skate shop, and you didn't go to skate shops unless you were a skater. You were out there earning that shit. You were bleeding probably and sweating and crying in some cases. We earned those shirts. This is basically what Eric and I were talking about. And we're still paying for it today as we're, older men and women. We still feel that those bruises and cuts and scrapes that we took to get us to the skate shop to get our next deck or, whatever it was. And here we are today. So anyways, yeah. This is already looking pretty sweet. I'm seeing a couple little support zits and stuff here that I just want to scrape off before. Nothing major. I don't need to sand. I can just kind of pop them off with my X-Acto knife here, which I really need to change the blade on. You always want to use a brand new blade anytime you sit down for a new project with your X-Acto knife. Sometimes you're going to go through a few blades, but I do recommend changing them very frequently. They're cheap enough to where you can do it. In fact, I need to buy more. This is my last one. I go through a lot of these. A lot. That bad boy can go in the trash. And I'll say it again, guys. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out and watching the live stream. Whether you're here now or you're here later, I will be leaving a link in the description for this live stream where you can go visit Frankie Hill's Facebook Messenger page. Use the promo code 3D Paint, and that lets him know that I sent you. And you can pick up a Frankie Hill deck, and he'll sign it for you and ship it out. I think they're about 120 shipped. If you just need an old classic deck to go putting around on, like a new old classic looking deck or whatever. You don't have to do tricks, but you can still support skateboarding, support Frankie Hill, and go buy a deck, get a signed copy of a Frankie Hill signature model. Cool. Well, I think we're ready to start putting some color down. So let's figure out our first color. I like to go dark and work my way up on just about everything I do. So we're going to start off with a darker bone color. And I'm going to I've got a color called Morghast bone and a Shopti bone. They're both by Citadel. I've also got some Ivory by Pro Acryl that I might be using in highlights. But right now I'm looking for our darker bone colors. And then a wash. Excuse me. That's flesh tone. I don't need that. Oh, I got a whole bottle of the Shopti bone already. All right. These two are very similar in volume, and I don't mean by how much is in the bottle. Just mean by color tone. Need to mix that up a little bit here. The Morghast bone's a little darker for a natural bone color. Got a few different bone colors to play around with here. This Screaming Skull may make a good, could make a really good. See, this is what happens with Citadel paints. And when it's inside the bottle dried up like that, you don't really want to fuck with it because it'll get down into the bottle. So I tend to just leave it there, but I'll try to, carefully scrape away the outside so that it'll. If you're careful with your Citadel paints, you won't get this problem anyways, but they're consumer aggressive. You gotta make sure the bottle gets closed properly. See, even now it's not closing 100. I know a lot of people actually transfer these to, like a dropper bottle type like that. But you got to do it like right when you buy the bottle to get it transferred. And doing that, you're going to lose a little bit of paint. Unless you can get yourself like a little miniature spatula, like a rubber spatula that you can scrape around the inside of the bottle to transfer it into your droppers. So that's another method you can use. So this isn't too much darker, but it's dark enough to be a good start. We're going to be using some washes too. To get down into these cracks. Probably be doing some dry brushing around the top of it as well. So we're going to mix up some of this right now for our airbrush. So this is going to be our base coat, and I'm going to be airbrushing that around the entirety of the skull for the most part. Oh, this is really chunky shit. Start off with that and see how well this mixes up. 50-50. I'm going to put this on the shaker and get it shaking some more. While that's going on, it's really chunky. I probably should have mixed that for a lot longer. I'm going to go ahead and just, because I use this stuff mostly for airbrushing, so I don't really care if I lose a little bit of the viscosity. I'm going to go ahead and just pour all that back in there. And we're going to mix this up a lot more thoroughly than I did. This is shit that can happen sometimes, so... I like to hold it because then I can move it around and get that paint really well stirred up in there. Let's see how we're looking now. Yeah, it's looking a lot better. Yeah, I just didn't mix it enough. That's even louder. That's the other thing about just holding it. It's a little quieter. If I leave it on my workbench, then it rattles the whole bench, which is also what my camera is attached to. So that's not good. So we'll call this thing Chunks Be Gone. It's a Chunks Be Gone. I need some water. It's been pretty windy here lately, so I gotta sweep in my studio here. It's all full of leaves from outside. Every time I open the garage door, a bunch of leaves blow in. All right. Another camera angle change here for you guys. Try to mix it up a little bit in here. And that's kind of space cramping. I'm going to have to move this arm over a little bit more. There we go. Oh, where'd my cup go? Did I throw it away already? I did. Didn't need to do that. Nope, it's still got chunkies in it. I want to avoid chunks because I'll be putting this stuff through my airbrush, and you don't want to be trying to push chunks through your airbrush. You'll have a bad day. Still a little chunky. So the consistency I'm looking for, here's some guys when they're mixing, some of the YouTubers out there say that they're looking for the consistency of like skim milk or something when they mix their airbrush paint. Um, I don't drink skim milk. I don't keep it at the house. I don't know what that's supposed to look like, and I'm assuming a lot of people don't. Um, I use the inside of the cup. I just pull a little bit up, and I watch how fast it pulls itself back in. You'll see it kind of shrink in on itself. And I don't want it so watered down that it comes out transparent. You see how that little finger kind of pulls in on itself there? Starts to pull down into the cup. That's right, what I'm looking for. You'll figure out your own way. Just play around with it. This is just to give you an idea, kind of like a guideline to what you're looking for when you're getting ready to load paint up for your airbrush. But experiment, play around with it, get a feel for it. This is what ended up working for me when I started airbrushing years ago. And honestly, I didn't do this stuff years ago. I was building like model cars and motorcycles and dragons and weird shit. Not even I think I did one dragon, but it was really cheesy from what I remember. Nothing like this kind of detail. And I've found that since I started painting 3D printed models and stuff, that the paint still behaves the same. You're still looking for the same thing when you're moving paint through your airbrush. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I like this bone color. I do like it. I think it's a good pick for us to start off with. Really appreciate everybody stopping in today and saying hi and hanging out for a bit. Aaron, appreciate you being here, man. If you're watching this now or later, please feel free to leave a like. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you. And most of all, the algorithm appreciates it. I'm definitely trying to grow this channel and share with more people around the world this hobby and all of our cool hobbies that we do. I want to hear from you guys. I want to see your lovely faces and enjoy your presence with me as we mess around with these fun hobbies. So at least leave a like. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to. It's cool. I appreciate it if you do, though. I love you guys. And again, we're doing this for legendary pro skater Mr. Frankie Hill. This is going to be going up on his art wall at his house. He's got a bunch of cool artwork and skateboards and whatever he puts on his art wall. It's a pleasure and an honor to be painting this bulldog skull for him, though. I'm having fun with it. So far, so good, though. The color's looking cool. Gonna have to mix up a lot more.
Explain me one more time. When they kill, it's a crime. When you kill it, it's justice.
Got a little too thick there. airbrush is being a little cloggy. Yeah, I think we might have gotten a clog. That's one thing I do like about this airbrush is you can break it down really quick and easy to get to your clog. So I'm just going to pour that paint out of the cup real quick. There we go. All right. Should be good to go here now. That nice and cleaned up. Pretty much starting from scratch here on the clean airbrush. Pretty much, not entirely. This will be a most likely just a 2-part live stream. I'll be painting today until my battery is about to die, and then we'll call it a day. And I'll be back again tomorrow to finish it up. Once you get past these bass tones, the rest of it goes fairly quick. Just going to be using some washes and some dry brushing to bring the skull to life, as it were. Oops. All right. Need to give her a little blow dry here so I can lay her down on his head. That way I can get the underside of the bones here. It's looking very bony. Very bony. And if you guys are just dropping in, thanks for stopping by and watching me paint this little project for a little bit. And please hit the like button before you take off. I very highly appreciate the likes. And feel free to subscribe if you want. Got some really cool Star Wars projects and some comic book character projects coming up. Lots of fun stuff are in the works. Jerry! What's up, Jerry Rojas? Welcome to the party. Feel free to like and subscribe. Oh, wait. Yeah, you already did that. We've got some very bony looking bone happening so far. This is our bulldog skull for the legendary Mr. Frankie Hill. Fun little project, something a little different. Mixing it up a little bit. After I get this and the next little project done, we're going to be back at it with Obi-Wan Kenobi Rides Boga. I recently received some LED noodles in the mail that Mr. Rojas helped me find. Thank you again, sir. So we are pretty much ready to start hooking up the lightsaber parts. Bring that blade to life. Which I'm very excited about. I'm also very intimidated. I'm a little intimidated. It is a little intimidating. So I got the, totally off topic for what I'm painting here, but I got the LED noodles in, and they're super cool. And I went back and reprinted some lightsaber blades. I ran off a bunch of them. Yeah, I'll show you that real quick. Hey, Jen, what's up, girl? Jen's in the chat. So I'll show you these lightsaber blades real quick. Here's this one I can show you. So Skittle Diddle. Is that Jen? I still got that whole. Yeah, this is a print, Jerry. To answer your question, so here's the lightsaber. This is an example of the lightsaber blade I ran off. Now, when I oriented these, I oriented them this way, and I hollowed them out, of course. But something I overlooked is that little itty bitty tiny friggin' supports were gonna wind up in there and make it really difficult to get the LED noodle up. So this took about an hour and a half to print 5 of these clear ones. I did 5 in case I screwed something up and I needed to redo it. But then I realized, with those little supports getting in the way, if I just orient them straight up and down when I print them, it'll take 9 hours to print. I think it only took about 7 or 8. But I didn't have the supports in there. So now I've got really clean lightsaber blades that the LED noodles fit perfectly into. And then from that point, I just have to do some soldering and get it fixed up. And yeah, those LED noodles are really cool though, man. They light up. They are bright. So I'm looking forward to getting back to Obi-Wan Kenobi Rides Boga after these projects are done. I was saying a little bit ago, this is probably just going to be a quick little 2-part series live stream. Doing this for Mr. Frankie Hill, who's a professional skateboarder for Pal Peralta. Dude's a legend in the skateboarding world. And his logo happens to be a bulldog for his signature models. But he really dug this. We were kind of just going over some, a cool little thing. I was going to print like a bulldog for him and paint it for him. And then we came across this skull, and he really liked the skull. So I said, yeah, I'll do this for you. It'll be fun. And if you missed it, if you're just coming in or you're watching this later, there will be a link in the description where you can go to Frankie's Facebook Messenger, and if you'd like to pick up your own signature deck from Frankie, he will sign it for you and ship it out to you, I think for about $120, and just use the promo code 3D Paint. Let him know I sent you. I think I grabbed another chunky paint. Oh, let's see if it'll push through. You had the Lance Mountain. Nice. Frankie Hill before the Bulldog. Okay. Awesome. Where's Jen at in the chat? Is Jen the Skittle Diddle? Skittle Diddle 1949. YouTube did something weird. Used to skate before. That's freaking awesome. Steve Caballero, nice. Okay. Yeah, let's everybody share their deck stories. Like, what deck did you have growing up? What was your favorite? Who was your favorite skater? One of my all-time favorite skaters was Nadas Kopis. He's also an acquaintance of mine, just from skating over the years. Frankie Hill was another He was kind of a local legend, you know. He's from Santa Barbara, and my thing with Frankie, I always loved his Japan grabs that he did. Wait for my compressor to finish compressing. I hate yelling over that thing. So Frankie Hill, he just had a really bitchin' Japan grab. Um, you have to, if you don't know what that is, look it up on YouTube. It's just a cool tweaked out grab, and it was like one of my favorite grabs in skateboarding, and I love the way Frankie did them, and I always strove to get the same kind of tweak and style that he had with them. Um, Indie grabs was all Nodus. Nodus's indie grabs, like I was always striving to do indie grabs just like Nodus did. You know, like backside nosebone. That was just the jam, dude. Like he just had so much style with it. No complies was another trick I always loved. Was and Ray Barbie's no complies were just, I mean, his style in general was just amazing to watch that dude skate, and I loved his no complies. So I was always molding my no comply skills around Ray Barbie, Japan's by Frankie Hill, Nodus's backside indie grabs, Lance Mountain's bitching like just laid back style and attitude. You know, growing up, it's like you you don't just have one skater that you want to skate like or that you're inspired by their style. You know, you gather many over time, and I was influenced by so many different amazing skateboarders growing up, and very fortunate to have met the ones I have. I met Frankie Hill for the first time, I think, back in like 1990, 91. I was just some grommet that showed up at Powell on the. I was just some grommet that showed up at Powell on the weekends. Powell Peralta had this really cool indoor skate park up on Patterson in Santa Barbara, and we'd all trek up there in our buddy's truck and go skating. It was always cool because there's, you know, everybody's laid back and just chill there, you know, and they're all the pro skaters and stuff that hung out, you know, they're just people. I've never been a dude for autographs or anything like that, you know. I just wanted to skate, and that was cool. I doubt Frankie even remembers meeting me back in 91, 1990, or up there or something, which is cool. Dude's met a billion people in his life, but you know, we're acquaintances now, and I'm painting the skull for him just for fun. Doing the bulldog, which, by the way, if you didn't realize already, I am doing this bulldog skull for Frankie Hill because he has the bulldog on his board. And if you're watching this now or you're watching this later, gosh darn it. So watching this now or later, there will be a link in the description. So you'll have to come back once I publish this video. There will be a link in the description. You can hit up Frankie at his Facebook page and just use the promo code 3D Paint. Just 3D and Paint. You may have your chat set to top chat instead of live chat. You might be right. Let me look at that. Top fans. Oops. I'm going to have to restart my messenger on my iPad here real quick. It's a little weird on the iPad. Okay, settings. Chat filter, top messages. All messages. I wonder if I have to do that. See, now I can see Jen. Okay, now I have to, because I thought Jen was Skittle Diddle for a minute. So let me go back. No, Jen is not Skittle Diddle. You are not blocked, Jen. I got you, girl. Okay, now I can see everything. I'm so sorry about that. So Skittle Diddle had the Lance Mountain family deck. Frankie Hill before the Bulldog. Okay, very cool. Used to skate before. Yeah, me too. I miss it. Aaron's a Caballero fan. Jerry said you have chat on. Okay. Jen's been talking to herself. You poor girl. No, you're not. Skit Little. Okay, I was saying Skittle Diddle. Sorry, bro. Skit Little. Stit Little. Fuck, man. I'm like way off today. Okay. Ray Barbie, public domain. Yes, Ray Barbie was amazing on that. His 360 no complies were just freaking incredible. And then we had no skate parks. Skit, where did you grow up, man? I'm sorry you didn't have skate parks. That's kind of a bummer. We didn't really have skate parks here in town. You know, like we had to drive all the way to Santa Barbara. All the parks back then were you know, indoor, mostly indoor and wooden. My friend Tim Garrity started a park here in Ventura called Skate Street that got pretty famous. It was featured in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, I think it was. And my friend Daniel, there was a little hidden, I remember in that game there was a hidden, what do you call it? Like an Easter egg. If you got behind the skate park into the back alley, you could skate my friend's van. That was my buddy Daniel Moncrest. Everybody called him Pee-wee. And that's his van in the game, Tony Hawk Pro Skater. That was pretty cool. Daniel's kind of another local legend of ours, still around and still a friend. I'll have to send this to him, actually. Daniel Moncrest was another one of the... Pee-wee was just one of the most amazing all-around skaters I'd ever met. Street skater especially. So many good skaters growing up. Jen, I'm not ignoring you. I would never. I'll just have to remember to double check that from now on when I do my live streams to make sure that I've got all chat turned on so I don't miss anything. So I apologize for anybody I missed, especially you, Jen. You know I love you. You know you're appreciated. So, Skit Little, are you new to the channel here? And welcome, either way. If Skit Little's still with us, are you new to the channel? And if so, welcome, and please hit the like button and subscribe. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to, but I'll be sad. Every time a new person watches my channel and doesn't subscribe, a kitten dies. A really cute kitten. And I love cats. I love cats. They're my favorite. So please like and subscribe, because we need more cute kittens on this planet. I mean, I think Devon Rex kittens are cute, even. Just cleaning out my airbrush here a little bit, getting ready for I don't know what I'm getting ready for. I don't know if I'm going to start dry brushing at this point, or start putting washes down. Hey, it's not my fault. I said I love cats. You don't want those kittens to die. You got to subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to save them. Oh, and hit the like button too. The Save Kitten algorithm really likes it when you hit the like button on my channel. A lot of people don't know that. YouTube, one of YouTube's new features, it's an algorithm designed specifically for saving kittens. The YouTube powers that be and I had a big talk, and we decided that it'd be a good idea to have the algorithm set to where if you didn't like my channel and subscribe it and stuff, that kittens would start dying. And I said, that's really not cool. But the CEO at YouTube insisted, saying some bullshit about like there's too many kittens in the world, and it's okay if we lose a few. And I wasn't cool with that, but he said there's nothing you can do about it. And then I said, fuck you, man. And then he said, no, fuck you. And then he pushed the button. And so now if you don't subscribe to my channel, kittens die. And I think that's really sad. So if you hit the subscribe button and the like button, save a kitten. And hey, if you can't do that, at least go out and adopt one, because there's a lot of kittens out there that need homes. And all that stuff I said about YouTube CEO and cats dying, it's true. It's totally true. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's true. No, I'm just kidding. It's really not true. No kittens will be harmed if you don't subscribe to my channel. But I digress. I will be sad. And yeah, we're almost to 500 subscribers, by the way. So everybody out there, thank you. I really appreciate your time and hanging out and checking out the channel with me and all that fun business. I'm really enjoying this little YouTube thing that I decided to try and do. I say a lot, like, I thought I'd be lucky to get like 10 subscribers when I started doing this thing. A friend of mine suggested, dude, you should start showing people what you do on YouTube, teaching it or whatever. And it's like, no, you're crazy. And he said, no, you should check it out. So I started doing it. And my first couple of videos were awful. I was like trying to do like a how-to paint skin tones with the fairy flesh set. There's still a couple of the videos up. Um, and yeah, I think I only had like 10 subscribers back then. But yeah, we're almost up to 500, man. I'm pretty excited about that. And then not too long after that, hopefully we can start monetizing a little bit. Maybe get a sponsor. That'd be cool. Anybody out there wants to sponsor me? Like Citadel or Vallejo Paints. Hint, hint. I got a nasty little clog in this nozzle right now, so I'm trying to work that out. Sticking in the old ultrasonic jewelry cleaner. And again, I promise no kittens are going to die if you don't like my channel. I was totally bullshitting you. Had you going for a minute. You were like, oh my God, I better push the like button. Just kidding. You guys aren't that stupid. I don't think I hope nobody's that gullible. And if they are, then cool. I got a couple new subscribers. Okay, I think we're done. Are we done? I think we're done. I think we're done with that color. That was pretty much 75% Morghast Bone. It's a base paint by Citadel. By about 25% Ushabti Bone, which is this. They make this in a layer, I think, but I was using the air and then, of course, water to thin it down to get this bony bone color. So it's bony bone. And now I feel like I need to do a wash on this. I need to get some paint down in these little cracks and crevices. And the tough part about that is like, what am I going to wash it with? What color am I going to use? Something darker because we want to provide some contrast. We need something that's going to get down into these little cracks and crevices of the bone to bring out the textures and start giving it some more dimension. And there's quite a bit to choose from out there. It just really all depends on what direction I want to go in with it. But I am going for realistic looking modern bone. That's my color palette. That's what I want to get to with the skull. That's what I want to get to, and that's where we're going. So let's see here. I gotta find a wash. I think I have something. Null oil. Snakebite leather's too dark. I think I'm kind of feeling like just good old fashioned Nuln oil on there, or maybe even Agrax Earth Shade, which is a pretty dark wash. Mind you, once I get the wash down, I'm going to be pretty much like dry brushing on top of that to bring the paint back up. But this first layer is going to stay in the, it's going to stay underneath. It's going to affect the overall appearance of what we're going for here. I'm I'm just making this shit up while I go along, as usual. Kind of. I mean, I have somewhat of a formula. Let me catch up to the chat here. Jerry, that's mean. Minwax stain. I have tried some stains. What's the one I have up here right now? I mean, I do like it. Did I use it up? I might have used it up on an old project. I did a the skull of a Carnotaurus sastrii, which is kind of a T-Rex like species of dinosaur. I think they lived before T-Rex, if I remember right. But I used a lot of stain on that project. I don't think I have it anymore. But yeah, stains are great. Wood stains are really good for making washes. I do like them. Gosh darn it. All right. We got 4:30 right now. Yeah, I got enough time to experiment. I don't think I'm going to get a full wash in. But yeah, Minwax out for people out there. Jen is 100% correct. It does make a really good wash for doing bone and stuff like that. So that's another thing you can try. Where was I? Oh yeah, there we go. Just wanted to make sure. Sorry about the boring segue here. I just wanted to make sure I got this airbrush cleaned up because I'm not going to be using the airbrush any longer today. All right. I'm trying to remember where I might have the stain. I could swear that I had some stain left around here because that would be good to have in the arsenal for things to try. Just looking through some of my other paints and stuff up here. Some nice big fat brushes. Yeah, I can't find it. I don't want to bore you guys with me looking for it. So we'll use what we have right now. And I'm just going to use this brush here, I think. Yeah, I think that's good. Give this a good proper mix. This is the Agrax Earth Shade. I'm going to try this one out first. It's pretty Minwax stainy color looking. It's well mixed. So you can see this color here. It's a pretty deep brown color. It's Agrax Earthshade by Citadel. So we'll just pick a small spot. Kind of like up here on the skull, so we can see how it looks on those cracks and stuff. I'll change the camera angle so we can see that. Don't want you guys to miss out on the experimentation process. So if you're just popping in or you're watching later, just trying to figure out a wash right now, a good shade to use on the bone. Feel like that needs more water. Needs to be a little more watered down. I like the tone though. All right. I think I'm liking the way that looks so far. I got this old sea sponge here. No, I don't like the way that's looking on there. Let's see. I got a rag. I'm gonna dampen it down a little bit. Ah, fuck me. God damn it. I always do that shit. Move this slap man out of the way here. There goes like $10. No, not that much. Fucking hate it when I do that. Might as well try to use some of it. I'm just not going to be happy with the way that turns out. All right. Try it with a little bit of Nuln Oil now. See how I like that look. Sorry, I'm not paying attention to the chat right now. I'm fucking around with this and just working this Nuln Oil down into this part of the skull here. I almost like this tone better. 'Cause again, I'm going to be dry brushing this back up. But I want to see how this looks. I don't like this rag, I'll tell you that. Paper towel. Trying to decide if I like the Nuln Oil or the Earthshade better, and I'm feeling like the Earthshade wash I like a lot better. Let's go back to that one. And a lot more watered down. It was just too much before. Okay, let me catch up with the chat here in just a second. Okay, oh, use a rag and dab it off. Yeah, I was doing that. You can leave it that heavy, but dab it for a nice aged look. Microfiber picks up too much. I like t-shirt material. Yeah, no, you guys are on the right track with me here, but the way I've done skulls in the past is a little different from what you might be used to. What I'll typically do is give it kind of a heavy wash, and yeah, you can dab it off. I was looking for textures to see if I liked the impression that the rag left behind. But a lot of times, what I'll do is I'll kind of do a wash over it and just let it dry like that. You know, even with all these dark spots in there, because what I'm going to wind up doing is dry brushing over almost all of this. And that dry brushing is going to leave much of the wash hidden. And you're going to be bringing this color back up from the bone. I'm only doing the wash to get some shade down into the recesses. And then I'm going to be dry brushing on top of that to bring it back up to the bony bone color. I had a little fuck up over here where I took off some paint when I was dabbing it. So I'll be fixing that with the airbrush tomorrow. But right now I'm going to go ahead and finish just applying this wash. I like the way that's flowing much better than before. Well, once you start dry brushing back over this stuff, it looks really, really cool. It's like my favorite way to do bone. Totally didn't mix up enough of this wash. I should have made more. But that's all right. Yeah, I just need a bigger brush. Bye, Jerry. Tell the wife I said hello. Much love to you guys, man. Thanks for hanging out, dude. I gotta get up and start making dinner for me and the wife myself. Don't know what I'm gonna make tonight. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. Starting to get into that dirty bone look that I like. Oh, I gotta stand up. Ugh. Okay, there's the 20% battery. Right on schedule. Actually remembered to turn my brightness down before I started today, so I was able to stream a little longer without having to plug in the charger. Oh, thanks, Jen. Appreciate that. Yeah, it takes a minute. You just got to keep applying the wash as it dries. It's got to go on really wet. The look I'm going, I need it to look like old blood or like old bone first, and then it dries for a day. I mean, typically when I do this, it'll dry for a day, and then I go over this with dry brushing to bring the bone back up to color, make it look a little more new, if that makes sense. And then it's generally done after that. But the tone will change quite a bit overnight while the paint dries. I got a piece of hair on there. Damn it. Come off of there. There you go. Oops. A little too damp down there. It's all right. I'm gonna be dry brushing over spots. So I learned this particular painting technique from a fossil prepper friend of mine that used to work at the La Brea Tar Pits. And she would use basically the same method, different paints and stuff, you know. In fact, I think one of the paints she used was a wood stain. Um, this is basically the same thing, same concept. And then she would let it dry overnight. She would let it dry overnight and then go in and do like stipple on things and then dry brushing the next day around and stuff. And that's how she did some of the pieces that you see when you go into like the La Brea tar pits. So this method I'm using is definitely not original or mine by any stretch. But I really like the way it works on, you know, when you're trying to do skulls and stuff like that. It looks really cool when it's all done. And at the end, I'll probably wind up going into the eye sockets and airbrushing some shadow in there. My other problem, amongst many, is that I get obsessive about shit. My ADD starts to take over. The little things start to bug me, whatever, about the paint. And I have to remember, constantly reminding myself to, if you want to get somewhere fast, you need to go slow. And I have to be patient and just let the paint fucking dry. Give it overnight, walk away from it, and give it the night to let the paint do its thing, and then come look at it in the morning and see what it looks like. And that will tell me more on the direction I need to go with the next layers or dry brushing, shit like that. And I'm basically at that point right now. I'm like finding little areas that are bothering me, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta go paint that some more. And sometimes you just gotta walk away and let the paint do its thing, and it'll tell you where it needs to go. Jen knows. I know Jen for one knows exactly what I'm talking about.
People all around me know I'm a stranger in a stranger town. Know just where you're gonna be. Take me home so I can see. Take me home so I can see. It's the light on the valley. It's leading me change color like me. It's the shadow.
This is one place where I'm not gonna blow dry anything. You want to let the paint settle into all the little cracks and crevices. Just let gravity pull it to where it needs to go, where it wants to go. And just let it dry in its own time, which is going to be an overnight deal. But we're getting some good color now. It's really looking like natural bone, modern bone. When we go to the dry brushing part of it, it'll really start to add more to the texture, dimension of the bone. All the little details will really start to pop out once we start some dry brushing on it. It's going to look really cool. Just checking out a few spots I missed back here. I need to get some stain on there.
It's the light on the valley. It's the leaves when change color like me. It's the sun and take me.
Don't know how it's translating on camera, but it's really starting to look like really real bone.
It's a light. Take me. Take me.
We'll call it good for the night. I think that's looking good. Pretty happy with that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's supposed to, like, the way I like to start off is it and I'm not, to be fair, I'm not even sure what direction I'm going in completely yet. I may want to keep it looking like it's seen some shit, like it's been out in the weather for a bit. I might want it to look processed and new, in which case we'll be doing a lot more dry brushing and things like that to lift up this color. You know, start dry brushing in highlights and stuff like that. And that leaves all this dark and textured areas behind underneath. There's a lot to be done in here. There's a lot of fun to be had. So I'm not sure entirely yet where I'm going to go with it. But for now, I know in my experience with, doing fossil I don't want to say restoration, fossil paintings and stuff, you know, to making 3D prints look like fossil bone, shit like that. I'm using the same techniques I've used before, and it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So I'm happy with it. Another thing I've done in the past too is like I'll spritz it with alcohol here and there. It kind of splits it up, but I like what the paint. I like how the paint's behaving right now. I don't really need to mess with it. It's doing what I want it to do. I could wind up coming down tomorrow and getting out a big fat 2-inch wide brush and putting a real sloppy coat on it. And then just letting that dry and see what happens. And then dry brush. Don't know yet. But right now I know I need to stop fucking with it and just let the paint do its thing and come back and look at it tomorrow and it'll tell me where I need to go. Yeah, alcohol it does fantastic shit. I'm tempted to just do it right now. It's tempting. I just gave it a spritz. I just did. You see that shit? Yep. Fuck, I'm having a hard time walking away from this right now. Yeah. Yep. I gotta walk away. I just gotta stop. Yeah, there's my 10% battery. All right. Well, hey, folks, thanks again. I'm feeling it, but I want to feel it on camera. I don't want you guys to miss out on it either. So I'm going to discontinue. I know exactly where I need to be tomorrow. And my previous experience with doing stuff like this is when I feel like this, it's time to walk away. But I'm definitely feeling like tomorrow, doing another wash on it, and then see where it goes from there, and start doing some dry brushing. But yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. I appreciate you. We're almost to 500 subscribers. That's freaking awesome. Like I always say, happy 3D printing, happy painting. Much love to you and yours. And I will look forward to seeing you for tomorrow's live stream. Again, look out for the description. There will be links, and there will be a link for Frankie Hill's Facebook Messenger. You can contact him there and pick up a signed Frankie Hill deck. I think they go for about $120, $130 shipped anywhere in the U.S. And yeah, show the guy some love and use the promo code 3DPaint to let him know that I sent you. All right, you guys have a good night, and I will look forward to seeing you soon. Toodles.